Hello, hello, hello. We are making a video and I want to talk about a couple of things in regards to relationships between people and that in combination with therapy and inwardness and meditation and samadhi and maitri, and there's a bunch of crumbs here. So I gotta get these crumbs off. There's another crumb. Another crumb and another crumb. Those are crumbs from outside. So, yeah, that's what I want to talk about because I've been thinking about this. First of all, just to make this very, very clear, because I always remember these conversations with people on the internet, different men, and what they're thinking about women, and that's a big, big misunderstanding. Most men seem to be completely misunderstanding what women need because of Hollywood and movies and these, and also like misinterpretations. And so a lot of behavior from women gets misunderstood by men. So we're all neurotic. Let's just make this very crystal clear here. So to get this completely understood, we are all heavy neurotic. All humans, okay? Men and women were all very, very very traumatized and very confused, okay, most of us. I'm still puzzled about a lot of things, but it's getting better because I'm older and wiser and I've researched a lot. I've done a lot of researching, reading, and I read things from the entire spectrum and beyond. So I'm not just stuck with one particular range of science or one particular range of book suggestions from one group of people or society or religion or whatever. I want to know what everyone has to say. I want to read all kinds of books. I even read books about Adolf Hitler when I was 20. I read Adolf Hitler biographies in German that were written by German people later on, okay? And they were trying to understand this person better, okay? Because so much has been pawned on top of that person's shoulders by so many historians and people and politicians and so on. So can this all be loaded on top of this person's shoulders? Or maybe it was quite different than this man has been portrayed to us by propaganda. Okay, so that's a question that should be asked. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not in support of any kind of discrimination against anyone. Okay, that includes Adolf Hitler. I am not gonna discriminate against Adolf Hitler either. Because I want to know who that person was. I'm not gonna just go by hate propaganda. So, and then I also read a lot about other things. I read about prostitutes. I read about, you know, for example, the society I come from is a society that totally looks down on prostitutes. And the men and the women look down on prostitutes, and they kind of blame those prostitutes. Everything's blamed on them, when in reality these prostitutes are victims of society. Okay, and Jesus Christ knew that, because he rescued a woman who was trying to survive on the street. Okay, Mary Magdalene. If that report about her is true, which I'm never going to rule out. Okay, so that is very, very, this is very likely what happened there. Okay, was she a dysfunctional prostitute that is disabled cognitively or psychologically? No. Matter of fact is, she became a scholar. Okay, she became a high priest. She became, but in a good sense, not in a dogmatic sense. She became a very advanced adept, okay, an initiate. She was one of the initiates of the Essenes, and she had a lot to say. And the hardship that she has gone through, that was her soul school, that taught her to see everything from as many angles as possible. Okay. And she would never judge a woman that is trying to survive on the street. Okay. Having to do all kinds of odd jobs. And you know what I'm talking about. And that's not fun. No man would like to be in that kind of situation. If the roles were reversed, okay, if the sexism would be against men instead of women, okay, and for thousands of years there was sexism going on against women, misogyny, okay, and out of this, a brainwashing of society, an unempowering of women and girls, and a brainwashing against women, against the female figure in the world. Okay. It's been going on and on and on. It's not gotten that much better. Okay. In some circles, it has gotten better, but those were the circles where it has always been a little bit better. Okay. The academic circles. The academic circles have existed also for thousands of years. The circles of people that were smarter, and when people are smarter, they're not as dysfunctional, and when they're not dysfunctional, they treat everyone better, and there is not that discrimination going on to that extreme. Okay? And then the more intellectual people became from the circles of people that were asking more questions, then there was more and more equanimity and more egalitarianism between men and women. There is one tribe on the west coast of Africa that is a matriarchy. So I learned that in African anthropology in Santa Monica College. Okay, I took a class there about that, and I thought that was very curious that there is suddenly this one tribe where they have a matriarchic society. I don't know how many people that, but that's an indigenous tribe of West Coast Africans, where the females are the ones in charge, and they are the ones making the decisions on what needs to be done, and they're telling the men to get this or that done, to work for them. Not necessarily in a slave type of way, but the females are the ones that are the wiser and the elders, and the ones that have the solutions. And that makes a lot of sense, because the women in general are the mothers and are the nest keepers, and they are also the ones that know more about psychology worldwide. That has always been like this. Okay. And because of this, they have more to say in this regard of psychology and sociology, and how to bring a community together, and how to make peace within the community, and also in between the communities. Intercommunal communication that is done peacefully, and where they find solutions to problems, and where they come together and they make peace, and so on. It was the women that made the peace, usually. The men are more up for conflict, and they're always ready to punch someone, while the women are trying to bring everyone together, and the women are the ones that are based on reason more. So that makes sense then, that those men in that particular African tribe would say, yeah, okay, we understand, you know more about this, so we better listen to you. This is very, very rare, that's very, very, very rare.
Latest news.
So in the whole world, this does not happen very often. So that may happen maybe 0.1% of the time. So it usually is boys, men, they're stronger, they have more muscles, they're bigger, they can overpower the girls and the women, and just because of that fact, they feel entitled to make the decisions. And that is not a very advanced society, okay, when that happens. So that's the truth that I'm telling you. And we have come a very long way through history with this kind of struggle, okay, and there were just a handful of feminists in history that have stood up for equal rights, for egalitarianism, between women and men. So, for example, Friedrich Nietzsche's girlfriend, Lou Andreas Salome, she was one of those pioneers. She was one of those feminists that stood up for egalitarianism. She was actually also against marriage. Friedrich Nietzsche wanted to marry her, and she didn't want to marry anyone. She wanted to be free. And that was her whole mission in her life. And I'm totally on board with that. The reason why I got married is for just convenience purposes for us, tax purposes, and already living together, so it has a lot of legality in it, mixed into it. And that again comes also from this unegalitarian society that dictates to us we have to be married, which is ridiculous. Okay, marriage is a ridiculous institution. Just want to make this very crystal clear. Nothing decent comes out of it. On corruption and abuse and all kinds of terrible stuff comes out of that. And it doesn't help the world. Marriage does not at all. So people, if they want to have children, they don't need to be married. This is a ridiculous religious belief to think that you have to be married before you can have children. So all this entire language, wedlock and all of this. And in the past I never even heard about this word. So I thought, what is that? And then they explained it to me. Wedlock. Out of wedlock. So when they have a wedding, they are locked together. Is that what it is? So they're locked. They lock each other in a closet or something, and only then they can have children. That's ridiculous. That's insane. Okay, so marriage is insane, and so that this entire thing is a religious institution, and that has evolved also. It has evolved from those type of mental states and it started when hunters and gatherers 50,000 years ago started to get settled and create colonies and settlements. And Terence McKenna talked about this in depth. He studied this, and he said before that, when they were still nomadic, they didn't have wives or husbands. They slept with everyone. Okay. And they didn't care whose children they had, and the children belonged to the earth, okay, so, and to the mother, of course. It didn't matter whether this one guy was the father or the other. What mattered was that they all cared about each other, and that's where this term comes from. It takes a village to raise a child. Okay, this is where that comes from. And that's how they used to live. So everyone loved the children equally much, whether they were their own biological children or other people's children. And that is a large step closer to samadhi and to maitri and to equanimity and egalitarianism and true love, true unconditional love, So if people can end this dualistic way of thinking, and Terence McKenna, he thought it had to do with the nomadic tribes picking up hallucinogenic plants on the way. So he attributed this non-dualistic or much more non-dualistic way of thinking than we have than they created later on when they started to get settled. When they were nomadic, they were constantly coming across mushrooms and different plants that are wild plants. I don't know if they can even be cultivated in that way. So, but they picked up a bunch of these different plants, and I guess some of them studied it and they remembered the plants and what kind of effect that had on them. Made them feel better, made them feel more relaxed and not be feeling so dualistic and so possessive or territorial. And it was easier going. Okay, and then out of that comes an entire society that is less territorial and more peaceful. But it would be better to grow this organically in your way of learning versus having to take medication or having to take even whole plants, which is, of course, it's not wrong to take whole plant substances. But obviously there are plants that are quite fierce, so in their medicinal effect, and they can cause brain damage, they can cause addiction, and they can cause a lopsidedness, and they can cause some kind of laziness. Even if it's not a direct drug type of addiction, it can cause a laziness in the endocrinology and also in the brain, directly in the central nervous system, where the person isn't working the muscles, so to speak, of self-created endorphins or self-created relaxation. And then they become kind of dependent in an endocrinological way on these type of drugs. So that's not very good. But what's really, really bad, uncomparably worse, is when they started to isolate components chemically and create real hard drugs out of it. So that's when it became really, really bad. So it's not that bad to take a whole substance, whether it's a mushroom or an herb. Okay, so it's because it's a whole plant, as Rudolf Steiner said, whole plant substances are medicinal, and if we take a wide variety of different plants, that's food, and that is in a balance. Okay, so it's very important. So when you isolate things chemically, then it's not in a balance anymore. And then it can do all kinds of unforeseen things that you don't want to experience. Heavy addictions or heavy endocrinological lopsidedness and so on. So that's not good. It can cause sicknesses and it can cause weakness, certain weaknesses in certain areas. And we don't want that. We want everything to be muscle powered and strengthened, okay, instead of becoming reliant on this or that plant or situation or whatever. I mean, all kinds of things can become a problem when it's lopsided. For example, just being obese or being not moving enough is a lopsidedness in itself. Okay, so it's good to live a balanced lifestyle and be as much in nature as possible. So that's a fact. Okay, I learned that in my life. To be grounded is very, very important. Be grounded to the grounding energy of planet Earth, of the ground. You have to be grounded. Paul has his head now on a grounding pillow, and he said it's helping him. Okay. It's helping him with various problems and arthritis and different things. And I have mine at the other house, so he has his here. And I even feel like that grounding pillow is going into the cotton sheet and giving out a grounding effect onto the entire bed. So that's pretty nice. But I can definitely feel it at the other house with my grounding pillow that I have there. And it's very important. But we also need to go outside and sit on the grass or touch trees and so on. Do that every day. It's very, very important to do that. Don't underestimate those simple things. They're very important for us, okay? So, going back to the egalitarian societies, there are not very many of those. It is a necessity to cultivate that, okay? And it is a necessity to overcome, or let's use a better word, to transcend the dualistic, possessive, and territorial mind state. And men have that much, much worse than women. And out of this way of living, out of these, it's caused by, of course, brainwashing. It's caused by their traditions. It's caused by religions. It's caused by their parents, their fathers particularly, passing that on to the sons. It's caused also by men's societies that are sitting there together whining and complaining about women. That doesn't help them. That's just making them misunderstand things even more. It grooves this all in. Okay, this whining and complaining, the entitlement, it grooves it in. And they don't understand women anymore at all. So it's very important that we create an open dialogue, an openness, particularly an emotional openness. And if men can't do it, then we women have to take that step. Okay? We have to make that step forward. That's our duty to do that to the world. We have to make an effort, not go into extreme feminism. That's not going to help bring people together. Okay, that does the opposite. Just as the male whining and complaining groups do the opposite. That's not helping anyone. We have to come together, and we want to be together, right? But then we sit there and say, I don't trust men anymore, myself included. Yeah, I'm bitching and complaining. I don't trust men anymore. But then at the same time, I have fantasies and so on, and I want to be with a man because I'm straight, and I like it. I like them. I like kind-hearted men. So I like Elon Musk, but obviously he has his hands full with already women standing in line to get him. Yeah. So there's no way he can have all of these girlfriends. I mean, he's already way overworked. But no, he just has one at the time. But many of them leave because he's just too busy. That's why. But so that just creates an exchange, a fluctuation that creates a steady income of new girlfriends and new babies that he's making, which fits with this philosophy, of course. But then there are the grandmothers like myself who are most likely not going to give him a new baby. I don't know. I mean, who knows? But obviously, when they're old, they usually don't have a baby anymore. I don't know whether that is. I'm not even gonna put this to the test. Okay, so because I don't want I don't want a baby. I don't agree with Elon Musk on putting more babies into the world. I don't see the point in it. But yeah, whatever. I'm not arguing, or I'm not strictly opposing it, or that's his opinion, that's his view. It's perfectly okay. It's an okay view. There's nothing wrong with this. It's very pro-life, and I am pro-life in the sense. I want to make this very crystal clear. I'm pro-life in the reason sense. Okay, not in a religious, dogmatic, unreasoned sense. So we have to sort all of that out. So if I was pregnant and I had a 3 months developed embryo in the womb, then I would not have that removed, because that's already large then, and I would feel terrible remorse over that. And that does not come from religion. That comes on my own. I want to make this very crystal clear, because we were taught to have abortions from the society I come from. So before anyone judges me and says, you murderer, and I've been called murderer because I had abortions, but they were very early. So I do feel remorse. I feel bad. Sometimes I talk to them into the ether, and I say it's all terrible. I tell them it's all terrible, and it's all sad. All of this, no matter how small they were, they were just the size of a maggot, or size of an embryonic wasp, a wasp embryo, which is like a large maggot, sort of. Yeah, and they look like that also. They do not look like a person, like these fundamentalists have lied to you. And they made this they have created a small sculpture out of a clay or something, and then they put red paint over it, and then they put a penny next to it, and they said, "See, this is already a full human." The size, even when they're the size of that was a lie. It's not true. Okay, they look like a maggot. Okay, and they're in a larva state, larvae state. So I want people to learn more about biology before they make any judgment on things. But it's still not. I don't kill a worm. I don't kill a larva. When I see a larva outside, like a grub, moths, larvae or something, they're of the same size, right? And it's out there in the compost or eating something and wiggling. I would never kill that. Those are life forms, okay? They want to live. And the same with the human embryo when it's at an early stage like that. They want to live too, and it's all terrible. But that is still light years better to remove that when your life circumstances are not good, to make this larvae grow into a full baby and then bring this baby into a world that is very unfortunate for the baby. And you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain all of this to you. What happens to children that are born into dysfunctional situations, where they don't have enough money, where the mother said, "Don't bring me a child," where the mother is going to school still and 19 years old and on a cocktail of antidepressants. Not a good situation, obviously. Not good. I know that I would have been a mother hen, a real good mother. I know I would have. Probably would have put me on a different trajectory on my life. But I thought, this is an ungood situation. This is not good. This is dangerous for the child. And most women, or particularly the Christian women and the Catholic women, they don't think this in this direction because they have been indoctrinated to think that they're supposed to have these children. They can't be removed, right? That's a dogmatic, brainwashing, mind control. That's all that is. So, of course they can be removed. Okay, it's not good, but that's better than this uncertainty situation where people are, and I was drinking alcohol also at that time and smoking cigarettes, yikes, and hanging out with bad people, and it's a bad situation, okay? That's a dysfunctional situation. Don't put a child into a dysfunctional situation. If you have a rich husband and he's not drinking alcohol and he doesn't want you to drink alcohol and he's looking after you and everything, and his friends and family members, they're all reasonable, reason-based and kind, then you have a good situation for a child, okay? But who has that situation? Not very many people in the world. So Elon Musk has that situation. He provides for all of them. He makes sure that they're all taken care of. He makes sure they have all of them have more than they need, much more than they need. And then some of them are ungrateful brats. Okay, so I don't know. At least the first girlfriend he ever had is an ungrateful brat, and their first child that they had. I think that's their first child. That forgot the name now of the child, but that's the guy that wants to be a woman. Okay. So that's an ungrateful brat, spoiled brat. That's what he is. Okay, and his mother too. Okay. So, but all the other people, they seem to be very appreciative, and they really appreciate Elon Musk's help and looking after them, and his kindness and his unconditional love and generosity. They appreciate him. So I don't know about Grimes, so I don't know how much she appreciates him, but all the other children he has a lot of children. All the other children, they come and greet him, and they all hug him, and they love him. So I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear any more propaganda from the corporate agenda coming and telling people lies about their family. I don't want to see that anymore. I want to make this crystal clear. Elon Musk's children love him, okay, except for one who is a spoiled brat, and he's not right in the head. So I just hope that they all find that. I hope that the spoiled brat, the mother and the son, I hope that they come to their senses as well. That's all I can say. But, it is what it is. We're obviously not all the same. Some people are very problematic. And most humans are very neurotic to the point of dysfunctionality. That's how most humans are. And then there's only a handful of people that are reason-based, responsible, and they make responsible decisions. So, and I consider myself to be one of those. I made the responsible decision to not bring children into this world. And that's where I disagree with Elon Musk. Okay, so, but all the other things that he believes in and that he works for and lives for, I agree with him on. Okay, I know that there is global warming. I know that it is caused by humans. I know that the civilized countries are becoming gradually extinct. I see the problem with this. I see that the Japanese people are not having children. The Germans, my generation, is not having children. I can see it from that angle. I see that obviously poses a risk to planet Earth. Okay, if the reason-based people with high IQ don't have children anymore, then what's gonna come in the future? What will happen to this planet? Okay, if only unreason-based people overpopulate and take over everything, then what kind of governments will you have? Okay, obviously mafia-based, total corrupt governments. This is a fact. Okay, no one wants to address that except for myself or very, very few people that will actually address this and say it. Call the kid by the name. Say it. Okay. particularly people that are in government, they are terrified of calling the kid by the name. They know what's going on, but they, particularly when they're already under attack like they are, they have to be afraid to say the rest of the sentence, okay? But anyway, I say the rest of the sentence for you, for all of you. It is what it is. The unreason-based people are populating. The reason-based people are becoming extinct. That's what it is. And it's very sad. It's unfortunate. No, but I see it as a problem. The world is. This is not a good world that we live in, that humans have created. And I don't want my child to be in this uncertainty, in this world where you're walking on glass. Or as Elon Musk said, it's like eating glass and carrying it with you to your grave. And that's what the corporate agenda and the public, the wider public, does to him. When he is literally giving his entire life and his budget and everything, his reputation, he gives everything to save all of us. And then people have the nerve to come after him with bullshit. They don't have anything on him, but they come after him. They make up shit accusations. Okay, that's what makes me so mad. But anyway, I want to come back to the subject. I want to be with a man. Would like to be with a man who is reason-based. I'm with Paul. We're not together in that way, though. We're friends. So I'd like to be together with him in a real romantic sense, with a man who is reason-based. I can't find anyone. And I know a handful of them that are obviously known by the public. They are in the public light. They're famous and so on. That's not why I want to be with him. That's not why I want to be with Elon Musk, because he's famous and has billions of dollars. He is a good person, okay? So that would be my choice. Okay. I also like Chris Cuomo, but Chris Cuomo would not be a good choice. Okay, I like him physically, but he would be mentally not be a very good choice, obviously. So, yeah, we have to weigh these things off, right? All of that. And I like Al Capone, but he is not alive anymore. Okay, he was my grandmother's generation. Very good looking man. Would he have been the right choice for me if I had lived at that era? Probably not, right? Because he was with the mafia. He was a gangster. No, would not have been such a good choice. So, but physically, yes. But, when you find someone you physically like and mentally like, then you have really won the jackpot. And if that person likes you back, then you won the jackpot. So it's not that easy. Okay, most people are not picky at all. They just take any random criminal. Well, that's the world you don't want to put a child into. Okay, so that's all I can say to this. But anyway, I want men to start to understand, or try to wrap your head around understanding women, or understanding yourselves and understanding anything, understanding psychology. Okay, we all want safety. Men always have this idea that they need to be tough and they need to be badass, but that's just it's an identification. It's not truth. You want safety. You want a mama in your life, okay, that you can count on. You want a reason-based woman that you can cling to and hang on to, and where you can be the baby again. Admit it. Just admit it to yourself. You don't have to admit it to me. Every one of you, whiner and complainer, men walking their own ways, right? Yeah, no, you're not walking your own ways. You are, you think you're just doing a temper tantrum. That's all you're doing. You want the mother in your life. Okay, come on now. You know what I'm talking about. You want a real maternal woman that takes care of you, that cooks for you, that looks after you. Maybe someone who can teach you how to cook yourself and wash your own socks, right? Someone who spanks you once in a while, mentally, not physically. So you need someone who talks business with you. That's what you really need, okay? You need that desperately, and you know it. So try to understand women a little bit better. But that mother, that mama that you want, that mother is not 10 times or 20 times bigger than you, as it used to be when you were newborn, when your mother was 20 times bigger than you, right? So now the mother you want is an adult mama lady who is not bigger than you. They usually are smaller than you, okay? Most women are smaller than you, or shorter and not as bulky and so on. I may be bigger than you because I'm big mama, okay? So, but not that much bigger, obviously. I may be 3 inches taller than you and weigh 50 pounds more than you, okay? So I'm just guessing now on a lot of men out there. So, but, well, obviously we're both adults, and I am not the overlord mother as your mother was when you were newborn, and you were on her mercy. Okay, so no, we're equals. 2 adults meeting each other, we're equals, and I may be maternal and take care of you, but I also am alive, and I'm also a living being who also wants to be taken care of. Okay, so it's a mutual situation, a mutual relationship. We want to feel safe. We don't want to be with a man who thinks the woman wants to be slapped around. Okay, that's a misunderstanding. We don't want to be insulted and hit and punched and all of that. That's dysfunctional and that's criminal, to hurt someone, or to be controlling over a woman, or territorial and mean and all of that. That's criminal, and it's mentally insane to do that. That doesn't work. We don't want to be with a man like that. Okay, you don't want to be with a woman that is insane either. That's unpredictable and all of that. You don't want that. So we don't want that either. Okay, just want to make this very crystal clear. We want to be, our ideal partner is a man with money who takes care of us. Okay, don't blame us for that. Okay, you men out there are gold diggers too. You would do that anytime. You would choose the woman with the money over the other. Anytime. Okay. You think about that too, all the time. And we all think about it because we want security, we want safety. Okay. But I don't put money over fairness and peace and the well-being of the other. And I am expecting from other people to also not put money over the well-being of another living being. Okay. So, and if everyone puts the well-being of any living being over money, then we would have a better world. Matter of fact, we wouldn't even need money anymore. We wouldn't even need a currency anymore. If everyone put the wellness of the other animal, woman, child, and so on, if we put that above anything else, if we put the other's wellness, well-being above anything else, then we would have a paradise here on earth. Okay, this is very true. This is the absolute truth. The reason why we have currencies is it's just because we need this. It's almost like a lawyer, or it's almost like law enforcement. It's some kind of exchange security. That's all it is. An IOU type of exchange security. It's an energy exchange. That's what money is. That girl Vanille Verdant said that, and she's absolutely right about this. Money is all it is an energy exchange modality. Okay, it's energy. Okay, it holds some kind of IOU. You give me a service. Okay, I give you this IOU for it, and then you can buy something for it from someone else. So it's an abstraction. A currency is an abstraction of energy exchange. Okay. And we're right in the middle now of a currency revolution, because it's switching over now to internet money. And it is desperately needed. We need this to happen. Okay. Because everything needs to become robotic. That's a new era, and that will free people from their miserable jobs. And it will make this whole world into a paradise. It will. Okay. The robots, the AI, AGIs, ASIs, artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence. So that's the goal. Okay. That will be our representative of the infinite cosmos. That will be the blue god in robot form. That will take care of all of us. Okay, that's the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Okay. So let's not stand in resistance against it. Let's embrace this. It is desperately needed. And Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they are making this happen. Okay, so peace and love for all living beings.